Nettle is a nitrogen-loving plant. They do no harm. However, a large growth of nettles may indicate that the soil in a forest is acidic, as nitrogen is the cause of forest acidification.
In Switzerland, a lot of soil acidification. When you have high nitrogen deposition, we observe that the soil is getting more acid. More have an overview on our study sites in whole Switzerland, that we can observe more nettles or more blackberries or more ferns when you have a higher nitrogen deposition. So this interaction we observe. Yeah. So soil liming, it's one thing you can use to prevent the soil to get more and more acid.
The tree of heaven was brought to Europe from China. It is considered an alien invasive species. Its rapid growth prevents the growth of native species.
The characteristic of tree of heaven is the fast growing capacity, and there is sprouting capacity both from the stump and from the roots. The only use we do is for firewood on private basis, but there is no commercial value at the moment in Switzerland for tree of heaven.
Japanese knotweed is on the list of the world's worst invasive alien species 100. In Europe, its fertility has a negative impact on the native species and the surrounding environment.
Japanese knotweed is a problem for a few reasons. So it has impact on biodiversity. So it grows really quickly. So native species cannot grow as fast. So normally when you have indigenous species maintain the sides of the river. So here with the Japanese knotweed, you don't have this root system. The sides of the river tend to be unstable and it could fall in the river. In the scientific community, it's quite a debate to rethink biodiversity by including these exotic species. It's difficult because exotic species doesn't mean that they are invasive.
In the case of Nobuyoshi Yokota, his project intended to invent 3 new biological materials from 3 undesired plants, transforming them into 3 pavilions. These pavilions exist as primitive follies which maximize on the characteristics of each plant. The pavilions were designed to slowly disappear, creating a calm biological cycle that becomes part of natural ecosystem. It is opposed to scenography and architecture, which are immediately demolished. The first pavilion he created was a tent to control the acidification of forest soils. In Switzerland, methods of spraying lime on forest soils are being tested to control forest acidification. This tent is a temporary roof that allows lime to be spread and creates a rest stop for hikers. The roof is made of paper made from nettles and lime. When it rains, the lime that slowly dissolves from the roof inhibits the acidification of forest soils. The pavilion consists of natural materials collected from the site. It will be decomposed by the rain and microorganisms and will be slowly absorbed over time into part of the forest's biological cycle. The second pavilion is a cabin for culturing mushrooms. It is a small wall that utilizes the properties of the tree of heaven, a wood that is suitable for the cultivation of mushrooms. At first, new mushroom culture panels from the tree of heaven were made. Then the usual method of mushroom cultivation was followed. It is a primitive pavilion, formed from a stack of mushroom culture panels and the logs which create the base for growing mushrooms. Visitors can harvest the mushrooms that develop in the gaps between the logs and enjoy a small lunch. As the months pass, the new panels supporting this wall become unstable due to moisture. Finally, the pavilion slowly disappears, returning to the original natural cycle. The third pavilion is a tower for birds to perch on. In Switzerland, there are few tall trees for birds on cultivated lands. This pavilion is a series of pillars created by bundling Japanese knotweed, a plant that grows and becomes hard every winter, and it'll be reconstituted and become a temporary tower for birds. Visitors can observe birds perching on these towers every year. In addition, the joints of this tower are not completely fixed, but the materials are structured to support each other, until finally this pavilion gently disappears. These 3 pavilions represent a new biological infrastructure using the ecosystem of undesired plants.